Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here today, my name is Odds, and we are going to be doing a little book review. I have 8 books to review for you today. I did one of these a couple months ago, about like 5 months ago. So I've read 8 books in that time. I'm still working towards my yearly goal of 20 books, but I'm on 17. I'm about a third of the way through. Actually, more like 25% of the way through the book I'm reading, which is Final Girl Support Group. I've just not been in a reading mood lately, so maybe this video will entice me to read more. I've been reading this for a couple weeks and I just haven't been, it's not that I've not been enjoying it, it's just like when you get in those moods where you don't feel like reading, all I feel like doing is writing. So I've been writing a lot, but I haven't been reading, and I want to get more into reading. So I just ate lunch and I feel like I'm really, I had dairy, so I'm like really phlegmy and I keep like hacking and I feel really out of breath, which I don't know what's going on. I think maybe I should not consume dairy because I am a little bit lactose intolerant. But we're gonna push through because we have a long lunch and we're trying to get through all of the stuff today. I'm gonna go in no particular order, in the particular order that I have them laid out on my bed. I'm just gonna grab one. First book I'm gonna talk about, I did not enjoy that much, but to be honest, I have thought about it a lot after reading it. So maybe it's one of those books that I can like revisit. It is a series, so it is the first book in the Star Wars Rogue Squadron series. Now I started reading this because there was supposed to be a Rogue Squadron movie directed by Patty Jenkins, which I don't think is happening. It follows kind of younger pilots in Rogue Squadron that are led by Wedge Antilles. So this is after the events of Star Wars Episode 6, kind of telling about that sort of time. It's from the Legends collection of Star Wars, so it's not technically canon, since Legends is not canon Star Wars, but they're pulling a lot of the Legends material for all the shows and movies, so this could become canon at some point in time. I'm just not sure if it will. I did not necessarily enjoy this book just because it was a lot of like dogfighting, but it's interestingly enough, I saw Top Gun Maverick and I thought it was really fantastic, but honestly the plot of Top Gun Maverick is basically the plot of this book, just this is like space and Star Wars layer on top of that. So I don't think I would recommend this. There's apparently much better Star Wars books out there. I did get the Princess and the Scoundrel, and then I want to get A Queen's Hope. I saw it at Target. I almost picked it up, but I'm like, I can't. I spent like $200 on books a couple weeks ago, so I can't do more. So yeah, I would say pick something else from the Star Wars Legends collection. I heard there's just much better books out there. The last book, the book that I was starting after I finished my last video, I really love. It's my favorite movie of all time. It's Jurassic Park. My copy was my dad's, which I stole, so it's like really old looking. Apparently we purchased this for $5.24, so it's kind of old at that point if you're getting a book for that cheap. The cover is all torn. So the plot of this book is the plot of Jurassic Park, where, if you don't know anything about Jurassic Park, a rich man decides that he's going to create a bunch of dinosaurs. This one is a little different. So what happens is there is an attack on a little girl by what they think is a lizard. It's actually a copy, which is a type of dinosaur. I think it's like a Compsosaurus or something like that, but we call them compies. So they send the sample over for testing. It ends up being sent to Alan Grant, who is running a dig for John Hammond. And they come back and they go to the park to inspect it. They find out that the lizard, the weird lizard, is a compy, and they have been cloning dinosaurs this whole time. So many things happen like they do in the movie. Some key differences and spoilers: John Hammond does get brutally killed by the compies, which I think is a lovely addition because he's much worse in the book. He's a little bit more charismatic in the movie, so you feel like he actually cares. He's just more reckless. He only cares about profit, so he's like a greedy CEO. So dies at the end. Pretty nice. Also, the T-Rex is a little bit different. They go into an aviary in this, which you see in Jurassic Park 3, and also the T-Rex swims after them, which you also see a bit in Jurassic Park 3, but it's what the ride at Universal Studios was based off of. It's actually based on the book, because if you didn't know, Islands of Adventure is a park that's supposed to be themed after books, whereas Universal Studios is based off of movies. So it's actually based off of the book, although they've changed that over time to create more profit. You know how things are. Read a couple of spooky books. Jurassic Park I'd kind of put into thriller, so you can get a little spooky, but not like a horror book. So I read The Haunting of Hill House. This is nothing other than it being set at Hill House and it having some of the same character names. This is nothing like the show. So the show is very different. It has one of those Netflix little stickers on it, which I know people hate. I don't mind it. It helps me know that it's based off of something. But yeah, both of the things that have had this Netflix sticker on it, it's not really a sticker, it's on there, have been wildly different. Like, I bought Fear Street because of the movies, and that was wildly different. Still enjoyable, both cases. This was really creepy. It wasn't even one where it was like, I'm scared and so there's some monster coming after you, but it's just so eerie that you're just creeped out the whole time. And, you know, I was living by myself at the time, and reading this, I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't read this before bed, you know, that sort of thing. It's quite short, so it's a nice little short read, but I definitely recommend it. I really enjoyed it. And then another book that is actually exactly like the movie, it's pretty much word for word, is Coraline. So this is by Neil Gaiman. He does a lot of comics. He did Sandman recently that came out. So yes, this is exactly like the stop motion movie. There's not much to say about this. I realized I didn't go into the plot of Haunting of Hill House, but basically they're all invited by this professor to this haunted house because they've had supernatural experiences, and you follow Eleanor, who in the show is a much bigger character. She's one of the daughters of the Cranes. And she ends up getting driven out of the house because she ends up trying to, commit suicide to stay in the house forever. But Coraline, a girl moves into a new mysterious house that has this mysterious door that leads to another family. So it's the exact same as her house, except for the other mother and the other father have button eyes, but they come to realize that she is a creature that is just preying on her to try to get more sustenance to survive. So, yep, it's exactly like the stop motion movie, so would recommend. It's like a children's book, but I don't think I would recommend it to children. Alright, now I have some romance books. I've been big on the romance scene lately. 2 queer books back to back. First was One Last Stop. This is written by Casey McQuiston, who wrote Red, White, and Royal Blue. I haven't read that one yet, but I read this one because it's 2 girls instead of 2 guys. So I would think that would be more interesting. However, this is an interesting concept. What happens is this girl is constantly running into this other girl on the Q train on the subway, and she realizes they form a relationship. She realizes that the girl that she keeps seeing on the train is stuck there. She's like stuck in time. She's not necessarily a ghost, but she's stuck in time. So they try a lot of situations to get her out of being stuck in time. And then I won't spoil the ending. But it's a big book. The print is pretty large, so it's fine. But I enjoyed it. I just didn't think it was the best book I've ever read. I've recently, like I said, I've been recently getting into romance novels, and I think they're just better that have been written. And unfortunately, the case is that a lot of the ones that are better written are heterosexual books. So, yeah, there's a lot of queer books that are good, but this one, we need books like this, so it's fine, but it's not anything I would run home about. Now, another queer book that I really loved was Delilah Green Doesn't Care. This is part of a series, so I will be reading the rest of the series. This one was really good. I would really recommend this. So, Delilah Green is an artist, and she moved to New York City because she has this estranged family back in a small town in, I believe, Oregon. She goes back to be a photographer at her stepsister's wedding, and she ends up falling in love with Claire, who lives there and who is one of the best friends of her stepsister. So it's a whole thing about her kind of coming into realizing that she can be in a relationship and that she can find love and find solace with her, like, patch-up relationship with her family. So, really good. Really recommend this. Can't wait to read the rest of the series. This was actually a recommendation from Barnes & Noble. They do like their Book of the Month club where they have about 5 to 8 books that they pick. This was their romance. I ended up picking it up. It is Birds of California. I really liked this. It's about a estranged teenage actor who no longer, is a celebrity, and then her co-star who is trying to maintain the life of an actor and how their relationship kind of comes together. So, really interesting. Shows you a little bit about Hollywood and the TV life and stuff like that. So, really good. There's some play acting in it as well, so there's a little bit of references to some plays out there. So that's really cool. It's a nice short read, not too long. It's about less than 300 pages, and the text is pretty large. So I would recommend this. I got it at 50% off. It is $17. I mean, Barnes & Noble gets up there. But ultimately, I think this one is really good, and I would recommend. And we're going to finish off with who is becoming my favorite author, Taylor Jenkins Reid. There's probably going to be a Taylor Jenkins Reid book in every one of these book reviews I do until I run out of Taylor Jenkins Reid books, which I try to space it out. I have 2 or 3 more on my bookshelf to read, so it'll probably be spaced out so that I can include a Taylor Jenkins Reid book in every single one of these. So this is Malibu Rising. This is one of her earlier books, if not her first book that she did. I think it was the first one that got big, but I don't think it was the first one she wrote. So it's about this end of the summer party in 1983. But it talks about this family, the Riva family, growing up basically without their dad, who was a very popular musician. So it talks about how they're all surfers, and they went through this tumultuous childhood growing up, even with having a celebrity father, and all of this sort of stuff. So it's really interesting. Very California vibes. Again, like Birds of California, you get a big dose of heavy California nostalgia. So if you like that sort of thing, I would recommend reading this book. Not much to say. It's definitely not my favorite Taylor Jenkins Reid book. That would still be Daisy Jones and the Six, but this is still really good and worth reading. I think I like this better than Seven Husbands. I know that's controversial because Seven Husbands is like the lesbian Bible, but I think I prefer this one to that. So this will probably be my second favorite book that I've read by her. I've only read those three, so I have lots more to read by her. Also introduces Carrie Soto, which she has a book about Carrie Soto in that recently came out. It's her newest book. So it's like a spin-off from Malibu Rising, so you probably would read this one first before reading Carrie Soto is back. So just so you're aware. But that's it. Those are the 8 books that I read over the past 5-ish months. I know 8's not a lot to read in 5 months for some people, but for me, reading a book every like 3 weeks is pretty good. Next year, I think I'm going to make my reading challenge lower because I want to read like long books. Like I want to read Dune, The Silmarillion, like big old chonkers of books. So we'll definitely need a little bit more time to read those ones. But hopefully I can read the rest of my book and the other two other books before the end of the year. I have 2 months, so I should be able to do it, even though I said it takes me like 3 weeks to read a book, but I should be able to do it in 2 months. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video while you were watching it, please make sure to give it a big old thumbs up, and I will see you on Monday with a new video. Bye!